Okay, quick update on the holster. I've got the edges all burnished. I put a finish on the inside, and the finish is up here somewhere. Tan coat. I've already done that on the inside because basically it's going to be kind of difficult to get to the inside once this thing's all put together. You can, using daubers and cotton swabs and such, and sometimes I go back over and I redo the inside of it depending on how it looks. And also I took and I wet it and folded it over so it'll be easier to glue. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go ahead and glue this thing. First thing I'm going to do, I've got my dividers and they're set at just a bit over, double check, yep, just a bit over 1/8 of an inch. And I already have it marked out here where this little triangular bit is, and that's where the stitch line is going to go. I've got that marked on the inside as well. Then I'll take my dividers and just mark a line up from that on the inside, or try to. See if I can get this hand to cooperate a little bit. There we go. Because that's where the glue is going to go, in that little 1/8 of an inch section. Over here, I'm going to fold it over and mark where I want my stitch line to end. But I'm not going to mark right at the end here. I'm going to go under it just a little bit so it doesn't show on the finished product. And then take my dividers and again do the same thing on this side. I hope. There we go. Just connect this line with this line. So I have it marked here where the glue is going to go, and it's marked here as well. Next thing to do is go ahead and put the glue on it. This is let me show you. Tanner's, there you go, Tanner's Bond contact cement. Works great for me. I like using contact cement because you spread it on, you let it dry, well, not dry completely, let it get tacky, and then once you stick it together, it doesn't move on you. Just a nice thin layer inside my layout lines. And then a little bit along this edge here. Now to some people, they'll thin it out some and they'll put 2 coats on. Or they'll use it as is and do a couple of coats, you know, let one coat dry and then put another coat on top of it. I have found that I don't need to do that. And it works fine with me just as is. Yeah, y'all can see good. Now it's another nasty, rainy, dreary day. We've been getting a lot of those lately. But I have installed a second light so I can see what I'm doing. Now my workbench is right next to a big picture window. And the idea is I get sunlight in from there. But this year we haven't been getting that much sunlight. And when we do, when it is sunny out, we want to go out and play. There you go. Now I'll just let that sit for a few minutes. And then we'll put this thing together. Well, I'll let it sit for about, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, I don't know. Anyway, it's tacked up nicely. So now all we gotta do is stick it together. And I want to make sure that this edge lines up. We're gonna sand it so it's not absolutely imperative that it comes out perfect, but I like to line it up anyway. there ain't no way the glue alone is going to hold this. So I got me a couple of scraps. Yeah, it's pulling apart. Got me some scraps of leather. I'll stick one on there. And one over here. And I got some little spring clamps I'm going to put in there. This will go at the top. Move them down just a hair. There we go. This will go underneath of him. And on the bottom, actually I'll move that up a little bit. Here we go. Put this guy on the top. This guy just underneath. And again on the bottom. I'll use my big clamp and just squeeze it down. This one can move down a little bit. Okay, that looks good and tight. Yeah. And I'm going to let it sit just like this overnight. Once I get it clamped the way I like. Yeah, that'll work. All right, and like I said, I'll leave it sit like that overnight. Let that glue cure up really good and hard, and we'll get back to working on this thing.